Hello, America. Since the founding of America, our Congress, our branches of government, each of the natures of courts have been used remotely. Our, since before electronic definitions of remote. Now, these are database relationships that were a part of the breaching method that was entrenched here before our founding parents' births. That had everybody only capable of being live progressions in relationship to databases, only capable of blaming other things, others themselves, for all that caused and kept and keeps and is maintained breaching method kept to keep, causing negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Acts like predicate acts, natures like criminal insidious natures, wrongdoers. The judicial branch and the political branch, for example, grouped and individually, they have crime methods pretending to be against pretending to be against anyone being above the law. When as a crime method to pretend to be against what they already didn't do, which is uses of their identities and titles to get over on regular citizens on a mass scale. They already have done that. Now these are parties with uses of their identities where they fight with each other. And if you demonstrate the actually recorded uses of their identities as Democrat or as Republic, as fake side, then you have, you mess up everyone. So they can't do their work, not by accident. Same reason they couldn't originally instill delusions, rot, criminally foreign influence sciences, victim reactions to all that was stayed like this. Everyone blamed other things other than themselves. These are child abusers. These are bonded methods of child abuse on each area, let alone the most forsaken areas. Per this method that is consciously, willfully aware of, say, has just on paper, Russians and Ukraine fight. Off paper, they're in collusion with each other. Off paper, they're in collusion with our own interbranch, on and off fire departments, on and off campuses, database relationships, on and off interbranch databases. They've been faking evidences in courts, one-way reports. They have the news involved with them with this. Then they have to hide libel aggressions. They have training of communications people involved with judges and with prosecutors, with a crime method, with words like communications and said, and witnesses, and treatments of fact treatments in relationship to them needing to sequence shift. So instead of following mandated law, they keep the problems going between people because they need to pretend other. They need to pretend to make mistakes, not realize they made mistakes, and they are intending on plotting to make mistakes on purpose. Excuse me. The Britain Superior Court and Hartford courts, Middletown courts, are invested only capable of defending themselves by plotting to, actually, they are already recorded plotting to affect more crimes in cases, more crime acts against innocent people and against victim predators they attach their lies to. These are people more responsible for murders than some of the people that end up going to jail for roles with it. They have the worst roles with the worst natures of killers, uses of body dumping spots, uses of training of people in relationship to such, uses of reporting in relationship to such. Now, this is former director of the FBI down, Robert Luskin. His co-defendants recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of people on my street that don't even realize themselves, but they have their roles with dozens of predicate acts, with judges and prosecutors, with dozens of FBI. The witness protection programs ties to my street. Their stewards involved. The psychological doctors, the mental experts of our FBI recorded delusions raw, criminally incompetent, victim predators. with opinions and backgrounds. Now they don't follow the rules. They don't follow rules in courts every day. Tied to them needing to hide line progressions, tied to that per their tricks uses of we're just about fact treatments. Like for example, they can read they have no ability to read the motivations of President Trump in relationship to the Ukraine and Russians recorded involved with other natures of racketeering against their own people, like with psychology. You know how many their physical delusions rot since founding. They're involved with justice racketeering since founding. They're involved with crime methods, breaching method roles, bonded, that keep the lie progressions tied to the cases. There are people, they make mistakes in cases on purpose, with innocent people get locked in jail for years. Rather than allowing them just to speak, have free speech, they pretend all kinds of passions and emotions, and they prevent them free speech. Pretend they're guilty, they're bad people. These are sicker than most prisoners and innocent and criminals that come before the courts and the police in the prisons that hold them afterwards. Recorded and kept needing to hide individually grouped and together, and their families, and the families of all private tied to the interbranch, and the families of the interbranch. In this method that originally and still uses all locations, areas, and states. Per its method. Then further using on off campuses database racketeering acts rolls with that. Sequence shifts that make each age of fact treatment nature self-value those sequence shifts covered up. Self-value the perfect world forsaken. Because the perfect world is an identity of relationship to correlation nature as the value of sequence true, which is simultaneously the value, the order, the finite, not denying the smallest exception, which even the smallest exception is relevance to what is actually true and increasingly of value. The value of the order, the finite, the value of the order of the sequence true. These are two identities of sequence nature. Our active quality of fact treatment nature, excuse me, is another value progression system that is simultaneously value, as correlations value is by what is simultaneous. What is our progressive value. So you build people stacking in relationship to even suburban, especially since before cars, before our founding parents were born. The pathology of suburban infrastructure, of the tactically denatured relationship to the ground, landscape theater, and or overtly criminal enterprise, criminally foreign influenced, tactically denatured relationships to nature are all that it can be perceived. Here, all deceived. So across the globe, that's why in Russia they have pathology homes that look just like ours, forced by crazy, crazy laws within as the fact treatment nature slavery of our founding parents, parents, here and there, fake sides. Now they have to pretend other. Oh, but now you counter this by being a job, by being a title. Then they go to be jobs and titles, and they stay roles with it. They get over on regular people. They get over on themselves. They have to pretend other. So what they do is recorded criminally. They pretend to be against anyone being above the law. So they could keep the law, pretended it has integrity, never had integrity. CNN also has sources with CCSU that through administrations that are roles with military police and their family members, with military courts and their family members, with the branches of service together, preventing mandated law and roles lying into databases with other nations, kept needing to hide the remote uses of them. They have the shared policing of apartments on and off Central Connecticut State University, shared policing of apartments on and off Rocky Hill locations, intercities, as the people with Weathersfield interbranch, on and off shared policing of strip malls, shared policing of regular malls, intercities involved with them with predicate acts, locations next to banks, excuse me, involved with them also with crimes with print media, print journalism, with television journalism, WFSB, Fox Connecticut News, recorded, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with predicate acts with people tied to the houses on my street, involved with predicate acts also with people associated with and as federal criminal code defendants or former director of the FBI, and with their roles with sequence shifts, interstates tied to the World Trade Center attack too. Context: right before the World Trade Center attack, post-dated documents insidiously post-dated from inside the court to appear as if they had been filed late, that had been presented to the panel of judges in the Ninth Circuit right next to the World Trade Center targets, center towers, right before they were taken out. Note, with all those people in it. Shock and awe. Disgusting. People jumping out of a tower. Imagine the death. So they use passions and emotions. They use the physical delusions of each identity of each branch, each individual grouped in together of the FBI. Delusions wrought, criminally foreign influenced, worse than criminally incompetent, worse than just crime roles and acts with themselves, actually recorded natures, the roles with a CIA, people associated with a Scalora family, with houses on my street. Now, there's a Claudia Scalora told one of my Saudi sources that she had sex with a Joe DeMauro. There are two Joe DeMauros, at least, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved one of the houses involved with predicate acts with a principal sex offenders campus and with their extended family members with falsified police reports, identity thefts, frauds, and racketeering in relationship to that. Fake roles with attaching me to fake locations. Two Mendez police are also involved with this, with a Phil Colo, one of the extended family members of the house in Vermont area, also with the Scalora family, also with foreign and domestic medical racketeering families associated with forensics locations like the Whiting Forensics Place and other prisons like Sandy Hook, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with interbranch families on and off of principal sex offenders campus then and further, also with Connecticut media hiding the lie progressions further then and now. They have been preventing writing, and the courts have been criminally attaching me and other people to falsified police reports, made confessions related to that, switching the names of officers, sticking such into databases. Now, when the agencies have to vet information, they're looking into what is recorded by courts that are criminally foreign influence already haven't been used remote this way. So they have to hide about how they use their databases, and they use cases criminally. They use all tied to them like prisons criminally. These are also people involved with predicate acts on off state judicial branch offices, on off the state prison offices, all along the routes that go by there, and the roads like the South Highway, right up to where on off the buildings next to and as the building of Fox Connecticut News, involved with dozens of federal criminals and police forms and interbranch, private tied to them, like a white family. There are people associated with the name Sosha that I barely know, that pretended other. Maybe they took a picture of me, was more one context, pretend other. Also recorded, confessed with a whole bunch of roles with predicate acts on off Two Rod Highway, where it runs into Hangdog Lane, and with the other side goes to the Berlin Turnpike before the heart of Hartford, that are also involved with them with predicate acts on off the campuses of each age, with the three spots at the end of the Berlin Turnpike, the gravestone place right in the middle, where it forks off at the end of the Brunswick Turnpike. The Cedar Hill Stem Cemetery, where there's the body of Billy Grasso. I mean, not Billy Grasso. I mean, J.P. Morgan. The body of Billy Grasso also involved with the predicate acts on my street by Wethersfield Police and by overt criminal enterprises associated with them, with the FBI involved with my street criminally, and the people with them and their family members. Excuse me. Also, people involved with predicate acts with the locations of and with the person of a serial killer. That's what's actually recorded. See, we have them lying about what is actually recorded, lying about the integrity of information when people speak. So they have a Frankie Reese also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with interbranch uses of their Facebook pages for predicate acts with the leaderships of prisons, interstates, also with federal criminals worse than interstates, like with Mexico. Associated also crimes with other nations, like on and off Central Connecticut State University, on and off Trinity College, including their roles with the investigations of what went down with the World Trade Center attack, their uses of Saudis against Saudis, and as their roles with uses of Americans against Americans. They have the identities of each nation fake and exploited that way, self-valued that way. Because any leader has to entertain all locations, areas, states, and sciences, all database relationships at the same time, criminally foreign influenced, standing criminal and seditious natures of positive treatments, perfect world forsaken, not by accident, self-valued forsaken, exploited that way. Say we have no integrity, allowed voice, allowed free speech, or they'll steal your identity originally still. When they make opinions about what are the problems with Hartford, Connecticut, they are roles with that, with all this tied to the agencies and the police forms like two Mendez police, two Domain police. They're family members involved with predicate acts, intercampuses, intercities through time. Involved with Fox Connecticut News right on top of the highway, right on top of the north end of Hartford. Intercampuses of each age and nature connected predicate acts roles, sequence shifting roles, identity thefts, frauds roles, falsified police reports roles, medical racketeering roles. So we have the logic racketeering natures as the experts of logic. We have delusions wrought, criminally foreign influence, premises treatments, sequence treatments. As our interbranch peak sophistication leaders of peak sophistication contained. Now one has trained. It's very simple. Hartford, Connecticut, New York City, cities throughout the world. They're in a trap only capable of blaming other things other than themselves for what is only capable of staying in a relationship to nature that is only capable of causing negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, and demonstration of that negative, of that identity of relationship to itself. Nature's identity of value progression, which has an identity of value progression, which has an identity of relationship to itself that is observable. But we have the sciences again, criminally foreign influenced, delusions raw, simultaneously, individually grouped and together. That self-value, that maintain the outcome, that maintain needing to hide that. So what they need to do is respond to me, so I don't have to keep drawing maps and bringing up people's names I only know from contacts where they had sought me out for this, and their roles with the houses on my area. Also used the victim predators for this, child abused. Now they're adults, men and women involved with the child abuse of kids, with child sex offenders. So you fear God when they pretend to be about, oh, no one's bigger than the law. They're bullshit. Bullshit. Get them fucking out and down. Excuse my language. I'll gather around. Get them to follow mandated law. Respond for how they prevented writing in New Britain Superior Court, other courts, and they pretend other. Confessed and recorded, falsified police reports, switching the names of officers, and while they prevent writing. So they're consciously roles with stacking databases, so they can have information vetted that is through criminal foreign influences extended further and further to everyone. Vaccines. You fear. You respond right here for them. Now.